Hello and welcome back. I am Melissa Ray, Chief Sustainability Officer of Sustain.Life, and welcome to the Week in Sustainability, where we bring to you the top news and stories happening in sustainability this week. So let me kick it off to you. I'm going to dive right in. I have two stories I want to talk to you about this week. First and foremost, the UAE, which hosts COP28, next year's climate negotiations, has named a leader to lead those talks, and it is none other than the chief of the state-run oil company. So if that headline isn't throwing off enough alarm bells, let's dig into some of the background here. So, for those that follow us and know about COP, Conference of the Parties, this is the annual conference that brings together global leaders to discuss climate change negotiations. Sustain.Life was lucky enough to present at COP27, which took place in Egypt in 2022, which had its own criticism and awkwardness behind that COP, taking place in a largely um, government surveillance state with widespread imprisonment of many of the domestic climate activists in that country. So now 2023 is positioning to follow suit with additional controversy again, as the chief of the climate negotiations is none other than Sultan Al Jaber, this head of the state-run oil company. So this is odd for a lot of reasons. Philosophically and traditionally, industry groups, oil and gas, have not been invited to COP. They have been slowly creeping in from the periphery. But to quote Alice Harrison of the Global Witness Group, as she was beautifully quoted in NPR, you wouldn't invite arms dealers to a peace talk. So why would you invite, frankly, leaders of oil and gas companies to global climate talks? To add a layer of complexity to this story, as if it wasn't enough, um, Al Jaber is not only the head of the UAE's state run oil company, he also is the head of the country's renewable energy efforts. He was leader of a project back in the early 2000s that was to create the first ever carbon neutral city outside of the outskirts of Abu Dhabi. And he is the chairman of the renewable energy company Masdar, located in that country. So what does this all mean, in my opinion? Selecting the UAE for COP28 as the location for those global climate talks was within itself a very controversial opinion. Um, I frankly find a little bit of humor and appreciate that this appointment of the chair of who's going to lead these talks is such a controversial pick. I feel like they're really following suit and approaching this quite head on. Um, and the fact that in this country, the same person that runs the state-run oil company also runs the renewable energy efforts is a really interesting quandary, and something I think highlights really interesting points around oil-producing countries and economies. So this is hot off the presses. We don't know what this is to bring. We will certainly keep you posted and maybe even deliver to you an update from the ground ourselves at COP28 later this year. Next, in our headline, on the chopping block is gas stoves in the United States of America. So who, what, where, when, why, a very quick rundown. The U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission, which is responsible for regulating all consumer goods products in the country, is drafting new rules for stoves in the country. Why are they doing this? Because there's increased evidence that stoves release air pollutants that are above federal safety standards and also have cause intense health impacts, respiratory illnesses, asthma, cardiovascular disease, and even cancer. So we don't know what these rules could be. We've just heard the proposal that they're going to be released. This could be anything from updating the emission standards of stoves to putting warning labels on appliances, to making installation of ventilation hoods required any place that there is a stove, to an all-out ban, which the agency does have the right to do. There is similar momentum from other departments in the administration, like the Department of Housing and Urban Development, which is considering a similar ban on gas stoves in public housing units. Some other places where we've seen laws like this in California, New York City, for instance, there is a ban on new gas hookups in any new construction starting in 2027. California has banned the sale of gas-fired furnaces and water heaters by 2030. And even Maryland, who you don't always see featured in news stories like this, has voted to ban gas appliances in most new buildings. So what we're seeing here is increased momentum and increased trends that links both environmental sustainability and emissions and climate change policies to also human health and human impact. So more to come on that as it progresses. I had a pretty quick one for you this week. We will see you next week for more top stories in sustainability and news. Thanks for joining us.